Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues. With this particular video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 25 of the anime series Log Horizon. For all intents and purposes, the series finale of this particular anime, and boy did it go out with a bang. It had a lot of interesting aspects to it. Of course, there are also aspects that are going to leave you sort of resonating and wanting more, and it's too early to tell as of the time of this recording whether we're going to get a second season or not. But frankly, I thought it was very interesting that we pick up right where we leave off. Shiro is accosting Lord Marvs, who has been basically, as we last saw, belittling Princess Lanessia with this whole sort of, BS story about bringing his ship, having given word ahead of time that he was going to have 5,000 tons of produce and food and stuff that needed storage, immediately refrigerated storage. And he knows, full well that he didn't have any letters sent, that he didn't have any of this cargo on his ship, that, the vessel he came on. And so you have Shiro, Krusty, and Michitaka. They called him on it. They basically called his bluff and saved Lanessia the trouble of having to make a formal apology and all these things that Marvs was trying to do. He was trying to manipulate her into a corner. Same thing with the Round Table. Really, he wanted to sully the name of Shiro and the Round Table, and he failed. He failed on such a grand spectacle level. Shiro had even gone to the point of falsifying a letter, saying that, actually, the Round Table got it, not Lanessia, because we work in cooperation. It got mixed in the mail, what have you. And seeing Marv's just incredulous expression, knowing that he never sent such a letter, such a word that he was coming, that, when basically Michitaka and Krusty both assured him that they had refrigerated storage space for his cargo, and Krusty basically tells him, come on, you don't have any cargo based on your reaction here. We caught you red-handed, everything like that. Now, the thing about this, though, is it was all over and done with relatively quickly. Onward, back to that wonderful spectacle of the Scale Festival, followed on its coattails, and we were seeing this grand, gorgeous fashion show unfolding, and Akatsuki, is still very reluctant to go out on stage, but we note that Shiro's not there with her, which is actually something he said he would be. He said he would be taking part in it, I remember distinctly, which is something that got her hopes up in a previous episode, but he wasn't there. He was actually off talking to Minori. She has had this worry, as we've seen, that people do not like him and are fearing Shiro and suspecting him to be a bad guy in disguise or creepy or what have you, and she has not, as well as Akatsuki has not, understood he's been doing this all on purpose. So we have a confrontation of Minori finally asking him straight out, have you been doing this on purpose? I've been worrying for nothing. And Shiro, kind of in his manner, apologizes and says, I won't let you down from this point on, we'll stick together, we'll help each other. And Akatsuki, of course, overhears all of this and starts mulling over that whole thing, her whole romantic interest in Shiro. Although the words are not spoken, she throws the bow from the fashion show in the water of a river that she's standing by, somewhat despondently, as though she's resigned herself, at least for now, that maybe there aren't going to be anything proceeding forward with this. But it coincides with some world-shifting events revealed in this final episode, and it's kind of driving me crazy because, we don't know if it's going to pick up with another season at some point. In any case, Shiro goes to confront somebody and ends up finding a woman in disguise claiming to be this, writer of stories or whatever it is, and he immediately knows who she actually is. Nereha is her real name, I believe is how it's pronounced, and she is from the westland side of the country. The city of Minami is ruled, overseen by a guild called Plant Wyden. And this is the one that, she's not the figurehead, she's not the actual literal leader, but she is the person controlling it, manipulating it from behind. She is the female equivalent in the westland section of this country, in this game-like environment of Shiro. And he has pieced it together. He knows pretty much, 3 steps ahead of the game as usual, what her plans have been, that they've gotten the transport gates semi-restarted around, the area, that he basically knows when she's lying, when she's telling him this story about having been from the real world and feeling like, an outcast, an outsider, nobody ever paid attention to her. And when she came in the game, she actually met somebody who did, which alludes to the fact that this is Shiro at some point, and he's calling all of these things lies. He's saying, I can see right through you. And I just find it funny how it kind of parallels some of the relationships that's been going on with he and Akatsuki and he and, Minori and stuff like that. And she wants Shiro. She actually ramps up the seduction to Shiro. I want you. I will do anything you want me to. Anything, all you have to do is but ask, and I will give you anything, And she's like getting really close to him, so it's anything she's talking about. And the whole purpose seems to be the fact that Shiro is steps away, perhaps, in his investigations of what make up this reality that they find themselves in that was based on the game Elder Tale, the MMORPG. But this is a very real-world environment, whatever it is, however it was created. It seems that Shiro is steps away from figuring out how to break free of it. He's not even sure if that's the truth. To return back home to the real world, whatever that is, however it, transpires to coincide with this particular world, but he's only certain that people can be made to disappear from this world. Whether that means they return home or not is a question mark. And by the end of this, we finally just get back to the core group of course, Shiro, Akatsuki, Naosugu, Nianta, and everybody, Minori, Toya, all of them are sitting around a table. Even Rundle House and his sort of female partner of the group that's always sort of belittling him and tells him he's got a stain on his clothes and everything when he's trying to be all big and bad at this table. They're all telling Shiro, we have trust in you, we have faith in you, we've seen the good you've done in this world, and they know he's got something on his mind, something spurred on by the conversation with this Nereha woman, and it's about what the next step for Log Horizon is. What is it? Is he going to be trying to find a way out of this world? Even Nianta asks him point blank, should we find a way out of this world? Should that be our goal? And everyone else is kind of like, yeah, that's actually a good point for a split second. But Shiro's like, no, you know what? We have something else that we need to do. We have to continue, in a sense, the mission statement we set out from the very beginning. We're in this world now, and we need to change the world. We need to change not just Akibahara, but we need to change the entirety of the place for the better, the entire world, whatever this world is that we find ourselves in. And for me, it's somewhat a bittersweet ending because, as I say, you kind of end up with a not fully contented sensation. You haven't seen the full-on end of the story. You've seen the end of the chapter, where we are now, and we're moving on to somewhere else, or at least the characters will be, but we don't know if we as viewers are going to be able to follow with them on that journey. Of course, you can always pick it up in the manga, that this is adapted from and everything like that. But as a series, as a whole, especially comparing it to very similar series like SAO, Sword Art Online, or Dot Hack, I have to say this in a lot of elements is a superior series to those. Log Horizon was a marriage of both of those kinds of things set within this genre of characters being stuck or being transported to a very game-like world. They were existing, and you had simplistic aspects where characters were funny, appealing, very humanized, as well as complex aspects. Now, does it falter a little bit in the fact that the ending was not one of full contentment, that the story is not necessarily said and done by the end? A little bit, But the same could be said for the most part for most series. Most series like to end with a little tantalization that there's something else out there, something's coming down the pike eventually, maybe, and, the story's not done. The characters are going to be living on from here. The story's not necessarily over, and while you're going to be left kind of pining for that story, that's kind of what you want with a series like this, that you care about the characters enough to want to know what further journeys they'll have and stuff like that. So I can't highly praise Log Horizon enough with this final episode. It definitely lived up to just being a fantastic series. It had a little bit of everything. And, yeah, I hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.